Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that's incredibly important but often overlooked. We're talking about life after 70. This isn't about slowing down. It's about living smarter, happier, and healthier. It's about shedding the habits and mindsets that no longer serve us and embracing a new chapter with vigor and joy. So, let's explore 5 things you might want to consider letting go of after you turn 70. First on our list, stop putting yourself last. For decades, you've likely been the ultimate caregiver, the reliable provider, the rock for your family, friends, and colleagues. You've put everyone else's needs before your own, and that's a beautiful, selfless thing. But now, it's your turn. The kids are grown, your career has likely wound down, and this is your prime time. It's not selfish to prioritize your own well-being. It's essential. Think about it. What have you always wanted to do but never had the time for? Maybe it's learning to paint, joining a book club, or finally taking that trip you've been dreaming about. Your health, your hobbies, your happiness. These should now be at the very top of your to-do list. When you fill your own cup, you'll find you have even more to give to the people you love, but it will come from a place of abundance, not depletion. Schedule that massage, buy the good coffee, spend the afternoon reading in the park. You've earned it, and it's time to start cashing in on that investment in others by investing in yourself. Next up, number 2, stop ignoring your body's signals. Our bodies are incredible communicators, but for years we often push through the pain, ignore the fatigue, and tell ourselves, I'll deal with it later. Well, after 70, later is now. That little ache in your knee, the persistent fatigue you feel in the afternoon, the digestive issues you've been brushing off, these are messages. They're your body's way of telling you what it needs. This doesn't mean you should panic at every little twinge. It means becoming a better listener. Maybe that knee ache is a sign you need to switch from high-impact running to swimming or cycling. Maybe that fatigue is your body asking for a more consistent sleep schedule or a more nutrient-rich diet. Pay attention. Keep up with your regular medical checkups, but also practice daily self-awareness. How do you feel after eating certain foods? How does your body feel after a walk versus a day on the couch? Your body is your most valuable asset in this chapter of life. Treating it with respect and attention is the key to maintaining your independence and vitality for years to come. Don't just live in your body, partner with it. All right, moving on to number 3, and this is a big one. Stop dwelling on regrets. Mark Twain famously said, 20 years from now you will be more disappointed by the things that you did and do than by the ones you did do. While that might be true, carrying the weight of past regrets is like trying to drive a car while looking only in the rearview mirror. It's unproductive, and it keeps you from seeing the beautiful road ahead. You've lived a long, full life full of twists, turns, triumphs, and mistakes. That's called being human. Everyone has a what if or a should have in their back pocket. Maybe you wish you'd taken a different career path, or said I love you more often, or traveled more when you were younger. Acknowledge those feelings, perhaps even learn from them, but then let them go. Forgiving yourself is one of the most powerful acts of self-love. Your past has shaped you, but it does not have to define your present or your future. Today is a new day, and the most exciting chapters of your story might still be unwritten. Focus on the present moment and the opportunities for joy that exist right now. This brings us to number 4, stop isolating yourself. As we get older, our social circles can naturally start to shrink. Friends move away, we retire from our jobs, and it can become easier to just stay home. But human connection is as vital to our health as food and water. Loneliness is a serious health risk, linked to everything from depression to a weakened immune system. So you have to be proactive about staying connected. This doesn't mean you have to be a social butterfly if you're naturally an introvert. It means finding your tribe and nurturing those relationships. Call a friend instead of just texting. Schedule a weekly coffee date. Join a local club, whether it's gardening, chess, walking, or a senior fitness class at the community center. Technology can be your friend here too. Video calls with grandkids can bridge any distance. Online forums and social media groups dedicated to your hobbies can connect you with like-minded people all over the world. The key is to make a conscious effort, reach out, say yes to invitations, And don't be afraid to be the one who makes the first move. Your social life is a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. And finally, number 5, stop believing that learning is only for the young. There's a persistent myth in our society that once you reach a certain age, your brain just stops being able to learn new things. That is scientifically false. Your brain has an incredible capacity for neuroplasticity, meaning it can form new connections and learn new skills throughout your entire life. Keeping your mind active and engaged is one of the best things you can do for your cognitive health. So, what have you always been curious about? Maybe it's a new language. There are fantastic apps like Duolingo that make it fun and easy. Perhaps you want to understand how to use that new smartphone or tablet your kids got you. There are free tutorials online and classes at local libraries. Learn to play the ukulele, take an online course in art history, start a blog, or learn a new recipe every week. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it challenges your mind and sparks your curiosity. Thinking of your brain as a muscle that needs regular exercise will not only keep you sharp, but will also open up a world of new interests and passions. Never ever stop being curious. So to recap, our 5 things to stop doing after 70 are: stop putting yourself last, stop ignoring your body's signals, stop dwelling on regrets, stop isolating yourself, and stop believing you're too old to learn. Letting go of these things isn't about restriction. It's about liberation. It's about clearing out the clutter to make space for more joy, more health, more connection, and more adventure. Your 70s and beyond can be a time of incredible growth and fulfillment. It's a new season, a new chapter, and you are the author. You get to decide how this story goes. Embrace the wisdom you've gained, but don't be afraid to shed the habits that are weighing you down. Thank you so much for watching today. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What's one thing you recommitted to doing for yourself in this chapter of your life? If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content on living your best life at any age. Until next time, take care and stay vibrant. The third thing you don't need to do anymore after 70 is force your body to do what it no longer wants to do. This is such an important one, and it's something many people struggle with. After 70, one of the greatest acts of wisdom is learning to listen to your body instead of fighting against it. Many people make the mistake of believing they must keep up the same pace, the same strength, the same flexibility they had decades ago. They push themselves to over-exercise, to ignore fatigue, to follow routines that no longer feel right, thinking that slowing down means giving up, means surrendering to old age, means becoming weak or irrelevant. But in truth, there is tremendous strength in acceptance. Your body at this stage isn't failing you. It's evolving. It's different than it was at 40 or 50, yes, but that doesn't mean it's broken or inadequate. It has carried you through years of work, of responsibility, of experience. It has healed countless times from injuries, illnesses, and stress. It has endured more than you can count and adapted more times than you probably realize. And now it deserves care, not criticism. It deserves respect, not resentment. Forcing your body to do what it no longer wants to do doesn't preserve youth. This is the lie we tell ourselves, that if we just push hard enough, we can turn back time. But in reality, forcing your body beyond its current capacities invites pain, injury, and exhaustion. It actually accelerates aging rather than preventing it. There's a significant difference between staying active and overexerting yourself, and this is a distinction that becomes crucial after 70. Movement is still essential. This isn't about becoming sedentary or giving up on physical activity. Your body needs movement to maintain circulation, flexibility, strength, and balance. But the movement should bring energy, not take it away. A gentle walk through your neighborhood or a park, a light stretch in the morning to loosen your muscles, simple balance exercises to prevent falls. These things can do far more for your longevity than a harsh, punishing workout ever could. Pushing beyond your limits may once have been a source of pride. You might remember marathon training sessions, intense gym workouts, weekend warrior activities that left you sore but satisfied. And those experiences were valuable at that time in your life. But at this stage, self-respect means honoring your limits, not denying them. It means understanding that wisdom is knowing when to push and when to rest, when to challenge yourself and when to back off. Think of Eleanor, a 74-year-old grandmother who used to run every morning. Running had been her meditation, her stress relief, her source of pride for decades. But when her knees began to ache, really ache in a way that didn't go away with rest, she refused to stop. She was afraid that slowing down would make her weak, would mean she was giving in to age, would somehow diminish who she was. She pushed through the pain, taking more and more anti-inflammatory medication, icing her knees every evening, but continuing to run every morning. Then one morning she fell. The pain in her knees had affected her gait, her balance, and she tripped and fell hard. Fortunately, she didn't break anything, but the fall scared her badly. And in that moment of fear and pain lying on the ground, she realized something profound. Her strength wasn't in running faster or farther. Her strength was in adapting, in listening to her body, in honoring what it needed now rather than clinging to what it could do before. She switched to swimming and chair yoga, focusing on flexibility and breathing rather than speed and distance. Within months, something amazing happened. Her pain lessened significantly. Her balance actually improved because she was working on it directly rather than compromising it by running on damaged knees. Her energy returned because she wasn't depleting herself fighting through pain every day. She discovered a new kind of strength, the strength of wisdom, the strength of self-awareness, the strength of adaptation. Aging gracefully means working with your body, not against it. It means being partners with your body rather than adversaries. Listen to its messages, really listen. The tightness in your back after certain activities, the stiffness in your joints in the morning, the fatigue that comes after long days or intense activities, these are not signs of failure. They're not evidence that you're broken or weak. They're guidance from a body that has carried you faithfully for 7 decades or more. They're your body's way of communicating with you, telling you what it needs, what works, and what doesn't anymore. Respond with kindness, not resistance. When your body tells you it needs rest, rest. When it tells you a certain activity hurts, find an alternative. When it tells you it's tired, honor that tiredness instead of pushing through with caffeine and force of will. When you choose rest over strain and balance over extremes, you protect your body's longevity. You give it the best chance to continue serving you well for years to come. The goal after 70 isn't to prove what you can still do. It's not about comparing yourself to others your age who might be doing more intense activities. It's not about living up to some external standard of what 70 should look like. The goal is to enjoy what you can do comfortably, to find pleasure and satisfaction in movement and activity without pain and exhaustion. Every step, every stretch, every movement should leave you feeling refreshed, not depleted, energized, not exhausted, grateful for your body's capabilities, not frustrated by its limitations. So stop forcing yourself to meet old standards. You are not in competition with your younger self. That person lived in a different body, in a different phase of life, with different needs and different capacities. You are in partnership with the version of you that exists right now, the version that has earned this peace, this wisdom, this understanding. Treat your body as a friend, not a project that needs fixing. When you do, when you approach your body with kindness and respect, it rewards you with the very thing you've worked your whole life for: ease, comfort, and freedom. The fourth thing you really do and need to do anymore after 70 is force yourself to please everyone. This one builds on what we talked about earlier regarding approval, but it goes deeper. One of the most exhausting habits to carry past 70 is trying to make everyone happy, trying to be everything to everyone, trying to maintain peace at all costs, even when that cost is your own well-being. For decades, you may have played the role of caretaker, of peacemaker, of problem solver. You've done your best to maintain harmony in your family, among your friends, in your community. You've smoothed over conflicts, sacrificed your own needs, put yourself last, all in the service of keeping everyone else happy and comfortable. And while there's nobility in caring for others, there's also a point where it becomes self-destructive, where it depletes you to the point that you have nothing left to give, not to others, and certainly not to yourself. But at this point in life, you've earned the freedom to set boundaries and to choose peace over people-pleasing. The truth is, not everyone will understand or appreciate your decisions, and that's perfectly fine. It has to be fine because you cannot control other people's reactions. You can only control your own choices. You no longer need to stretch yourself thin to accommodate every request, to attend every event, to solve every problem, or to maintain every relationship at the expense of your own energy and sanity. When you say yes to everyone, you're often saying no to yourself. Think about that. Every time you say yes to something you don't want to do, every time you agree to something that drains you or that you don't have energy for, you're saying no to something else. You're saying no to rest, to activities you actually enjoy, to time with people who nourish you rather than deplete you. And at this stage of life, your energy is far too valuable to waste on guilt or obligation. Letting go of the need to please everyone doesn't mean becoming selfish. This is an important distinction that many people struggle with. It doesn't mean you stop caring about others or that you never do things for other people. What it means is learning to value your own emotional health, your own needs, your own limitations. It means understanding that you can still be a kind, generous, loving person while also maintaining healthy boundaries. In fact, you become a better, more authentic version of yourself when you stop people-pleasing. When you stop overextending yourself, you create space for what truly matters. You create space for meaningful connections rather than superficial ones based on obligation. You create space for joyful activities that energize rather than deplete you. You create space for a calmer, more centered life where you're not constantly stressed about meeting everyone else's expectations. Think about Linda, a 73-year-old who used to say yes to every family favor, to every request without even considering whether she had the energy or desire to do it. Babysitting every weekend, even when she was exhausted and needed rest. Attending every family event, even the ones that were hours away and required travel that left her depleted for days afterward. Always being the one everyone turned to for help, for solutions, for support, until she felt like she had no life of her own, no time for her own interests, no space for her own needs. One day, after another weekend of babysitting that left her physically and emotionally drained, she sat in her quiet house and realized something. Her kindness, her constant availability, had turned into quiet resentment. She loved her family, but she was starting to feel angry at them for always asking, always expecting, always taking. And then she realized the problem wasn't them. The problem was that she had never learned to say no. She had trained them to expect her constant availability by always being available, regardless of her own state. So she began setting gentle boundaries. She started saying no when she needed rest, not with anger or resentment, but with simple honesty. She began choosing smaller gatherings instead of large events that overwhelmed her. She started protecting her energy the way she had always protected others' feelings. And to her surprise, her relationships actually improved. People respected her more when she respected herself. The family members who truly cared about her appreciated her honesty and adjusted their expectations. And the ones who reacted with anger or guilt-tripping, well, that revealed something important about the nature of those relationships. The fear of disappointing others often keeps us trapped in patterns that hurt us. We're so afraid of someone being upset with us, of someone thinking we're selfish or uncaring, that we'll sacrifice our own well-being to avoid that possibility. But true respect, genuine respect, doesn't come from endless giving. It comes from authenticity. When you're honest about your needs and limits, when you show up as your real self rather than as a version of yourself that is constantly trying to please everyone, the people who truly care about you will understand. They'll respect your boundaries. They'll value you for who you are, not for what you do for them. And those who don't understand, those who react with anger or guilt or withdrawal when you set boundaries, their approval was never worth the cost of your peace. This is a hard truth, but it's an important one. Not everyone in your life has your best interests at heart. Some relationships are based on what you provide, not on who you are. And at 70 and beyond, you have permission to let those relationships fade if they need to. It's not your job to manage everyone's happiness. You've done enough giving, enough guiding, enough sacrificing. You've put in your time. This chapter of life is about balance, about giving from a place of abundance rather than obligation, about contributing in ways that feel joyful rather than depleting. Your time, your energy, your attention, these are precious resources. They're finite, you only have so much. Spend them where your heart feels light, not burdened. Spend them on relationships and activities that give back to you, that nourish you, that make your life richer and fuller. Now we come to the fifth and final thing you don't need to do anymore after 70, and in many ways, this might be the most profound one. You don't need to try to control everything and everyone. One of the most important lessons life teaches after 70, sometimes gently and sometimes through painful experience, is that peace comes from release, not control. For much of your life, you may have felt responsible for keeping everything together. Your family dynamics, your finances, your home, your relationships, even the small details of how others live their lives, how your children raise their children, how your friends manage their problems, how the world unfolds around you. But as time passes, as you gain experience and perspective, you begin to see that not everything is meant to be managed, fixed, or arranged by your hands. Some things must simply be allowed to unfold. This is one of the hardest lessons to learn because control often comes from love and care. You want to protect the people you cherish. You want to help them avoid the mistakes you made. You want to keep life orderly, predictable, safe. These are good intentions, noble intentions even. Yet the harder you try to control everything, the more stress it creates, both for you and for the people around you. You can offer guidance, certainly. Your wisdom and experience have value. You can share your perspectives, your insights, your hard-earned knowledge, but you can't shape every outcome. You can't make people follow your advice, even when you're certain it's the right advice. You can't prevent other people from making mistakes, and in fact, they often need to make those mistakes to learn and grow, just as you did. When you accept this truth, when you really embrace it deep in your bones, life becomes much lighter. The weight you've been carrying, the weight of responsibility for things you can't actually control, that weight lifts. And in its place comes a kind of peace you may have never experienced before. Think about Frank, a 78-year-old father who used to worry endlessly about his adult children's choices. He wanted them to live responsibly, to save money the way he had, to make smart decisions about their careers and relationships and finances. He wanted to protect them from disappointment, from hardship, from pain. So he gave constant advice, sometimes requested but often not. He commented on their spending, their parenting, their career choices. He couldn't help himself. He cared so much and he was so afraid they would mess up their lives. But his constant concern, his need to manage and control, created tension in their relationships. His children started pulling away, sharing less with him, seeing him less often. And Frank couldn't understand why. He was only trying to help, only trying to love them. Then one day, his daughter, the one who had always been closest to him, gently said something that changed everything. She said, "Dad, I need you to trust that you raised me well. I need you to believe in the foundation you gave me and let me live my own life, make my own choices, even my own mistakes." That moment hit Frank hard. He realized that his constant attempts to control and manage weren't protecting his children. They were telling his children that he didn't trust them, that he didn't believe in them, that he thought they were incapable of handling their own lives. And that realization broke his heart. He understood then that letting go wasn't abandoning them, it was respecting them. It was honoring the adults they had become. It was trusting in the very foundation he had worked so hard to give them. When you stop trying to control everything, when you release that need to manage every outcome, you regain your energy and your joy. You begin to notice the simple beauty in each moment because you're not constantly monitoring everything, worrying about everything, trying to manage everything. The sunlight through the curtains becomes something you actually see and appreciate rather than something that barely registers as you rush through your morning routine. The laughter of family becomes something you can be fully present for rather than something happening in the background while you worry about what might go wrong. The rhythm of quiet mornings becomes a source of peace rather than a time to plan and strategize and try to control the day ahead. You no longer measure life by how perfectly things go, by whether everything unfolds according to your plan or your vision. Instead, you measure life by how peacefully you feel inside, by how much you're able to enjoy each moment, by how connected you feel to yourself and to the people and world around you. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. This is crucial to understand. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you stop being involved in your family's life or your community. It means trusting that life knows what it's doing. It means understanding that you've done your part, you've given your wisdom and your care and your guidance, and that what remains now is to live fully, to be present, to trust in the process. Your wisdom, your kindness, your patience, these qualities now become your greatest influence, far more powerful than any attempt at control. When you embody peace rather than anxiety, when you demonstrate trust rather than control, when you show acceptance rather than constant correction, you influence people far more deeply than you ever could through managing and directing them. This is the season of your life to loosen your grip and allow the world to move as it will. You've carried enough, truly enough, you've guided enough, you've worried enough. You've done your part, more than your part. From here on, your peace is your greatest gift to yourself and to those around you. When you let go, when you release the burden of trying to control everything, you make room for joy to come back into your days naturally, without effort, without pressure. You make room for laughter, for spontaneity, for surprise, for delight. You make room for love to flow freely rather than being tangled up in expectations and attempts at control. This is how life was always meant to be, flowing, natural, unforced. As we come to the end of our time together, I want you to take a moment and really reflect on these 5 things that truly no longer need your attention. Your energy or your effort after 70, which one resonated with you the most? Was it the constant need for approval, that exhausting chase after other people's validation? Or maybe it was the habit of keeping yourself busy, filling every moment just to prove your worth through productivity? Was it forcing your body to do things it no longer wants to do, fighting against the natural evolution of aging? How about the pattern of trying to please everyone, stretching yourself thin to accommodate every single request? Or was it the urge to control everything around you, to manage every outcome, to fix every problem? Each of these patterns is a burden, and yes, they once served a purpose in your life. In earlier stages, these behaviors made sense. They helped you survive, succeed, and navigate a complex world. But now, at this stage, they only weigh you down. They drain your energy without giving anything valuable back. And letting them go, releasing these burdens, isn't losing something important. It's gaining something precious beyond measure. It's gaining freedom. Life after 70 isn't about trying harder, doing more, or pushing yourself to keep up with old standards or other people's expectations. It's about living wiser. It's about making choices based on deep self-knowledge rather than external pressure. This is the time to enjoy peace without guilt, to rest without apology, and to live according to your own rhythm, your own values, your own sense of what truly matters. You've spent decades giving to others, working toward goals, striving to achieve, to prove, to accomplish. You've earned this time. Now it's time to simplify, to strip away what doesn't serve you, to savor the simple pleasures, and to simply be yourself without justification or apology. Now, letting go doesn't mean doing nothing. It doesn't mean becoming passive or disengaged from life. It means choosing what truly matters. It means being intentional rather than reactive. It's realizing that happiness at this stage of life comes not from how much you achieve, how busy you are, or how much you control, but from how deeply you appreciate, from how fully you're present, from how much peace you feel inside. The more you release these old burdens, these unnecessary patterns, the more space you create for calm, for laughter, for love, for contentment, for all the things that actually make life worth living. You've already proven enough in your life. You really have. You've built your career or raised your family, or maybe both. You've contributed to your community in countless ways. You've loved deeply, struggled through hard times, celebrated victories, and endured losses. You have lived a full life already. The next chapter, the one you're in now, is about lightness. It's about living in a way that honors your body, respects your energy, values your time, and protects your heart. When you stop carrying unnecessary weight, when you put down these 5 burdens we've discussed, you walk into everyday feeling freer, feeling stronger in the ways that actually matter, and feeling more at peace than you perhaps ever have before. This is the gift of aging when you approach it with wisdom rather than resistance. This is the freedom that comes when you let go of what no longer serves you and embrace what does. This is the peace that arrives when you finally give yourself permission to live according to your own truth rather than everyone else's expectations. And this peace, this freedom, this lightness, this is what you deserve. This is what you've earned. This is what awaits you when you ready to release what you no longer need and embrace the beautiful simplicity of life after 70. Thank you so much for watching. If this video resonated with you, please consider liking and subscribing for more content like this.